Hey everybody, welcome back to your follow-up. This is actually it should happen after the introduction. You saw the trainings that we went through. You saw some of the concepts that we all have learned as students. And now we're going to help you get through your questions, because you might have some questions in your brain. We've been doing this for 10 years now. So getting these questions answered for folks that have them is something that we've gotten good at. So I'm going to roll over here to I'm going to weatherman this thing over here. So what we're looking at is the Renatus menu, right? You've probably seen it on your screen. So the Essentials courses are $1,997. There's 10 8-hour classes. You get weekly group coaching. You're going to have a chance to get that lifetime complimentary access. We'll talk about how that works in a second here. So let me just tell you this. This is going to be 12 months, and then at the end of the 12 months, they're going to say, hey, do you want to keep it on? And you'll have a choice, yes or no. You can keep it on, either keep it on or not. It is $1,997. The advanced package is you get the Essentials plus 2 vocational tracks. You can pick any 2 tracks that you want. Okay, any 2 tracks. So you can pick the fix and flip track and notes track. You can pick the short sale track and the commercial track. Any 2 that you want. That'll only stay on for 12 months. You can repeat it as many times as you want inside that 12 months, so you can actually finish the class and start it all over again if you want, right? Okay, and that weekly group coaching is going to carry over from the Essentials. This will shut off in 12 months. This will stay on. Now, if for some reason down the road you're like, you know what, I want the bigger package, or if you want it like I did, I was into this service right here, this package, as soon as I got in. So this was the one that my wife and I chose. That is everything. It's the all-access pass to the amusement park called Renatus. There's not a ride you can't get on. There's not a class you can't get involved in. There's not a coaching program that you can't be a part of. Okay, so you'll get the Essentials, all 6 vocational tracks. You're going to get that bonus track that only comes with the Extreme. I think it's and that they keep adding classes to it. So when I started with the Extreme, they only had 8 classes in the bonus track. Today, I think it's up to 14 classes. Group coaching, so that's a carryover from here. Every Tuesday evening is group coaching. We're going to cover that as well. You get the one-on-one coaching now. That's going to kick in. You're going to get 6 sessions with a coach from Renatus to help you get things started. And that's going to come with complimentary lifetime access as long as you're a good person and the webinar's up for as long as you live. Okay, so $19,994 for that. Now, keep in mind, if we look at this right now, and I figured this out, this is probably about $40 to $42 an hour right here. And then because it's going to be able to stay on for you, keep in mind, and they redo the classes. As the instructors come and say, hey, I need to redo my class, they're going to come in studio, redo the class with the students in front of them. They're not going to ask you for another dime for that. You're just going to see it again. So technically, it's not like sitting in one 3-day boot camp at a guru for an amount of money and that's it. You actually get classes that are going to be redone, that are going to match up with strategies, economies, and you for life. Isn't that great? Complimentary lifetime access. So this is that. Now, here's the questions that I get when I'm showing this off. I know this. So some people are like, well, can I start with this and then move up? Absolutely. These are 2 different services. So this service is the Essentials, and then the AIT is a completely different service. Okay, so you're not really upgrading into an advanced, you're just tacking on the other service. However, if you decide to get the advanced, you will be considered an upgrade if you want to go to this, the Extreme. Now that will be simple. It's just simply the difference in price, which is $12,000, plus a $750 fee to make sure that they can get all the programming done for you here at head office. So that's what you can expect. So I've had plenty of people who have done this. Then they're like, hey man, I'm doing pretty good here. I want to get this. Oh yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I have lifetime access. Now I will tell you this. This will shut off in 12 months, but it's going to be on hold for you. When you come back and say, hey, Renatus, I know that I finished my 2 tracks up 12 months ago. Can I come back in and just pay you the difference? The answer is yes, right? Isn't that generous? So there's no gimmickry going on here with Renatus. You can just come on in, and because you're still part of the family. Okay, remember, it is for 2 people. Okay, so you can actually designate that tuition partner. Now, here's what you can actually designate that tuition partner later on. You don't have to do that immediately. You can figure out which one of your friends or family members deserve it, right? You and some friend or family member can actually go in together on it, split it up in some type of payment. So that's completely up to you. You're the principal tuition holder. Okay, I do want to go back to this screen here. I want to cover the live help, and then I'm actually going to dig into the classes in my back office with Renatus here. Okay, so here, with all the programs that you have, you're going to get the group coaching. Okay, every Tuesday evening, it is Eastern time, it's 10 p.m., Central time is 9, Mountain time is 8, and 7 p.m. on the West Coast on Tuesdays. The great thing about the group coaching is there's no attendance being taken. However, you can log on and hear other people asking questions that you didn't think of, right? So it's like, I would just come on and listen. Sometimes a guy in text is like, hey, what about this? I'm like, oh, what a great question, what a great answer. So that actually becomes a very fluid thing on a weekly basis. Again, there's no attendance being taken. You can just jump on anytime you want, okay? Then you're going to have a one-on-one coach. Now, this is going to be 6 sessions. What we suggest is you take classes like a fix and flip, functional, vocational track like fix and flip. Then, hey, I want to do a fix and flip. Or you do buy and hold. And, hey, I want to do buy and hold. Hey, you take notes, tax liens, or deeds. And then you're like, hey, I want to do some notes. So whatever you pick, you take those classes. Then you engage with your coach. You get 6 sessions to make sure that you're on the right track all the way to getting that thing finished. Now, the Renatus live classes. I'm actually inside the studio right now training. Every 6 to 9 weeks, depending on what needs to be redone, the instructors fly in, students from all over the country fly in. My wife and I, our first 2 years, we actually came in the first 2 years, never missed a session. The great thing about it was we were interacting with people in the crowd. We went to lunch with them. We got a chance to interact with the instructors. It was fantastic as far as experience. And you're going to be responsible for your flights in. You're going to be responsible for your hotels. But you don't have to pay for this either. Just make sure that the seat's been registered. And I will tell you this. If for some reason you register yourself for a seat and you don't show up, you're going to have a hard time explaining that to Renatus. They will consider you not very good at keeping your word. So they may not let you do this again if you register and then you don't show up. So make sure that you're just staying in communication with Renatus to keep that available for you. All right. Now, this is something that Renatus, this is what your enrollment into the services, so the cost of services comes with this, okay? What doesn't come with your cost of service is what the local teams are doing. I really have to stress this because if you're making a decision on Renatus based on study groups that a local team may or may not be doing for you, then don't make that decision to do Renatus, right? So this is stuff that's going on outside of Renatus that is being collaborating on with students around the country. So in Chicago, I'll just give you an example. In Chicago and here in Utah, I know that they're doing 2 workshops a month. One of those workshops actually is a marketing workshop, so they teach us all the referring and the opportunity where you can refer people in and earn money from the referrals on the IMA thing. So we do a workshop on that once a month, and we also have a real estate workshop once a month or a real estate intensive. The workshops feature students getting up and showing off their deals and talking about how they got it done, fielding questions. The intensives are actually a chance to see an instructor in front of one of these rooms locally or even on a webinar through one of these things. We do broadcast this stuff out of some of the locations that the community is doing. That's a separate thing, so Renatus is not broadcasting it. These people might. All right, the study groups. Let me talk about the study groups. So when the study groups were developed, they were actually developed out of Chicago. This was the idea. Everybody that got their essentials would take 4 hours of a class, the same 4 hours. So they're all coming to the study group to talk about what they learned, what they started doing, and we started getting really concise on this. So they have a sheet where they actually start writing out their plan based on the class, what kind of resources and human resources and or entity resources they're going to need to get it done. So everybody was doing that together and talking about it, and then they would talk about what they're doing with the plan that they created last week. So technically, they're functionally progressing through the education together with colleagues. Not something that Renatus put together. It was something that was organically grown from the markets across the country. You may be in a situation to participate in that. I do know that in Chicago, you can actually, we do allow people to actually come into, on the network, on the internet. Okay. Another thing that you might have going on for your group, a lot of team leaders around the country are helping their folks on the referring side. I happen to be one of those individuals where we have webinars on a daily basis. In fact, anybody can get on one of my webinars that starts with us on the marketing side or better. So if for some reason you want to be an IMA, you want to refer people, we really talk about a lot of things here on this webinar to help you get that done more efficiently on a weekly basis. So we're always there. There's 3 different chat lines on that webinar every single morning. There's resources that we have, links and resources that are available. Our goal was, if you had a question Monday night about that, we'd be there Tuesday morning for you. Does that make sense? We haven't let anybody down yet. In fact, we have a mantra here in the family, in the community. You're going to give up on you before we give up on you. So hopefully you appreciate that. Okay, so this is it. So very important to understand that that is what Renatus is providing for the cost, right? This has nothing to do with Renatus. This is organically grown communities around the country banding together to get stuff done. Right? Now, that presents either an opportunity for you. If there's nothing going on in your market right now, then let's put one together. Makes sense? So we can actually get this going on. We've helped a lot of people do this online first and then create something. It's one of our intentions, very intentional for us around the country, helping other people grow. Okay? All right. Frequently asked questions around this. Is there any cost to this stuff? Actually, there is a cost to this stuff in some markets. There's a business builder fee that you can participate in, or some markets just charge you because they have to take care of that building. I'll give you my example. So this building in Chicago costs us $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Each seat in that room is $50 during the workshops. That goes into a non-for-profit to keep that community center working. So there you go. If we don't, for some reason, reach the number that we need to keep the building alive, then we as leaders in that market actually cover the rest of the cost. Does this make sense? This is one of the reasons that we've been so successful through the years, no matter what the market's doing. Okay, so now that's the menu. Let's actually dig in to the education. Ready? So I'm on this beautiful technology they have here in the studio here, and what you're seeing on the screen behind me is this is my virtual campus, my back office to Renatus. Let me tell you something. As soon as your contracts are signed and approved, it could be 1 or 2 days from the time you get in, you're going to have as much access as I do. Isn't that great? So a couple things to note on the screen here. You're going to see Essentials courses on the top there, so I'm actually logged in. All I did was I hit the Education button just like that, and you see Essentials AIT. You're going to have that kind of interactive interface right there. Now, you'll notice it says your education is currently enabled till 1/30/2018. You don't know this, but right now it's the 29th of January, and supposedly my stuff's shutting off on January 30th. Not so. I'm under contract to be a good person inside of Renatus right now because I'm on my complimentary lifetime access. So what that says is, hey, for some reason, if Scott Rowe doesn't deserve to have his education on anymore, then they're able to shut it off tomorrow. Does that make sense? So it's your lifetime access, your complimentary lifetime access is going to go daily based on you being worthy. Got it? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. So here I am. I'm on the education right now. All I have to do is click on a class. Watch this. It's gonna pop up. It's gonna start. All right, so here's my classes. I'm at home. I'm like, all right, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna watch some classes because I work the midday shift. And you'll notice I can actually go to anything. I can scroll to a segment here. It's really cool. It's like it's on demand, just like cable, right? So let's say I'm on the section where I'm like, hey, I want to pay my kids. If you're interested in having your kids pay themselves so that you can write off trumpet lessons and hot lunches and prom dresses. So you just click it. I'm clicking it. It's going to start up there. I can just hit it. There's Mark Kohler in the studio talking about taxes and legal strategies to make sure that you're paying as little taxes as possible legally. If for some reason you fall asleep, you can pause it and then roll back. I can actually go backwards. I can actually affect the speed. If for some reason you're real good at watching stuff faster, you can speed it up and watch it quicker or slow it down. Isn't that great? And that's it. So now I'm taking classes. You're going to notice the headphones in the top left-hand corner. You can download the MP3s. You can watch this. So the cool thing about this is I can actually access this on my phone and watch it at the airport. So let's say I'm waiting for a plane. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to watch some Mark Kohler. Boom. I can be watching classes. My headset's on from the phone. If for some reason you're sleeping in a tent that night and you don't have Wi-Fi access or mobile access, it's like remote, then all you have to do before you leave is just hit the headphones on the screen. You can download the MP3s into your computer and or mobile device and listen to the MP3s later on. There are tests to be taken on each of these classes, a pre-test and a post-test. You can download the workbooks. You'll see the little page thing on the top left hand. You can download the workbooks and play along with your workbooks, either electronically and or a paper form. It's up to you. Isn't that great? So we'll go back to the essentials. I'll click on essentials again. You'll notice it'll come right back up. This is how fast it is. So you don't have to actually attend a class. You don't have to be in a session. Now, I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why I thought this was genius. I thought the way that they were delivering the education was genius because if you were to go to like some guru place, right? You know those guys that fly in and they sell you stuff in 3 days, and then you go to a 3-day fulfillment. Sometimes you get to go to Vegas or Florida and they promote that. Well, you go there, you're not allowed to record anything, and if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to hold it, right? You can't pause it. In this way, you don't have to take any time off of work. You can simply hit it at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, take as much as you can take, right? Now, I will tell you this. Let me talk about my wife and I's experience. In our experience, we did not have jobs. So here was our schedule. I want to lay this out because I always lay it out in the follow-ups. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we actually worked on referring people as real work. Like that was a gig that got us paid and helped feed our family. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we knew that Renatus was willing to pay us $1,000 and $10,000 per referral. That way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we could just focus on the real estate. So that plan, I was able to actually take a class on Thursday all day and be done with it. I was able to take a class on Friday all day and be done with it. I was able to take a class on Saturday and be done with it. I finished the essentials in 3 weeks doing that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was always making money. Renatus was paying us to help them expand by referring people. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday was always geared towards taking classes. It was an awesome experience because of that committed intention, because of that organization, that calendar we kept. My wife and I have never needed a job again simply because Renatus was willing to pay us. And then we could take classes and turn it into real estate. Got it? Okay, so that's the essentials. Frequently asked questions. Can I just watch these anytime? How often are they redone? Technically, that's up to Renatus and the instructors interacting together to figure out if the content needs to be changed. However, I can tell you that these classes here in the essentials are typically redone every single year since I've been involved. So that's a question I get asked a lot. All right, then once you're done with your essentials, you break into your accelerated investor training, which is your AITs. You'll see AIT right here. You'll click on that. And we'll bring up the different vocational tracks. Okay, so let's count the vocational tracks together. You got lease options, which is 1, fix and flip, which is 2, short sales, which is 3, multifamily, which is 4, notes, tax liens, and deeds, which is 5, commercial, which is 6, and then you have the bonus, the extreme bonus track, which only comes if you're doing the extreme tuition. Okay, let's go back here for a second. The same thing is, now take a look at this. Lease option is designed to talk about buy and hold real estate. So you have buy and hold 1, buy and hold 2, managing property managers. When you're done being a landlord, you want to manage property managers. Lease with an option to buy. Subject to, if you want to actually learn how to do real estate without using money or credit, still control the property to make cash flow on it. So this is the lease option classes. Okay, you go into fix and flip. Now, remember the 4 levels of real estate investing? Wholesaling, wholesaling, fix and flip, buy and hold, and money lending. I'll tell you what I suggest people do. I suggest they do the fix and flip next because you have 2 levels of real estate investing right there. You have wholesaling right in the middle of the screen, plus you have buy and fix and flip 1, fix and flip 2. Now, let's take a look. The fix and flip classes are the 30,000-foot view of fix and flipping. The rehabbing classes is very detailed work to do inside the deal. I can tell you this. The rehabbing classes were just added this year, and they didn't charge me for it. When I say this year, I mean 2017. They didn't charge me a dime for it because that lifetime member access thing, they didn't send me a bill. They didn't hold it off. Every other program out there, well, I guess everything is an absolute. Most of the programs out there actually do not do that. What they do is they actually create content every single year and then offer it again. Hey, valued customer, we redid everything. Everything's brand new because it's a brand new year. Here's your discounted rate. What I loved about Renatus was that they weren't doing that. They said, hey, it's a service. We're going to give you lifetime access to it because it's what should be done. Cool? All right. Okay, so that's fix and flip. Then you got your short sale if you want to help people out of foreclosure. Multifamilies if you want to buy bigger stuff and have everybody live together and collect rents from one place, one address. Notes, tax liens, and deeds if you want to just deal with paper. The commercial real estate, and then the extreme. Okay? All right. Frequently asked questions on this. What about documentation? Yep, let's talk about that for a second. If you get the AITs, you also get all the real estate forms. Now, as these instructors are talking in their class, they're going to talk about forms. They're going to bring up forms. All those forms are going into a vault for you. Isn't that great? So here's your data gathering stuff that's talked about in class and then given to you so that you can use it after class. So, and I'll tell you something, this is probably the most important forms for you because it's the one pre-signature, right? So know what you're doing in real estate and understand what you're getting involved with based on the pre-stuff so that when you're signing your name on a contract, then it's good to go, right? So that's all those forms. Now, let's talk about the contracts. If those are being talked about in the class, you're getting it. Isn't that great? Now, what I suggest is, and I'm sure that Renatus will back me up in this, is that these are generalizations. These instructors are coming from different states. Your real estate laws vary state to state. So you want to identify a real estate attorney in your area. Take these contracts to them. Maybe they can help you figure out how to, maybe they'll give you an alternative for your state. Maybe, in my case, you can actually, I was actually taking the class. I was rewriting some clauses sometimes in the contract. And all I had to do was get with an attorney in Illinois and say, hey, can you defend those clauses? And they would look at it and say, well, I would change this. Or if they're signing it, I can definitely defend it. So make sure that you're doing that in your local areas. Sample letters, some, for foreclosures or absentee owners or wholesaling, if the instructors are talking about sending out a sample letter, again, you're getting it inside the vault here. So remember, the essentials are $1,997. I can tell you this. After you leave this webinar, I say this to all the rooms that I'm in doing live follow-ups, I would not leave the building without having these classes you see on the screen right here. Not because you aren't sure you want to be a real estate investor, but because you're sure you don't want to pay the kind of taxes you're used to paying. So if you take the tax and legal strategies classes, they're going to be able to teach you how to set up entities, how to actually control the money we talked about before instead of earn it, how to actually have your kids pay for their stuff. You can pay your kids. That'll be a tax write-off from the money you paid them as employees from your family management company. They can pay for their own trumpet lessons. They can pay for their own prom. They can pay for their own gifts. They can pay for their own hot lunches, pay for their own babysitters, pay for their own daycare. And because you did it the right way, it becomes a write-off in the company because you paid the kids to pay for their own stuff. Isn't that great? Classes you should definitely take. Not only for you, but you'll be able to pass on this knowledge and structure to your kids, to the kitchen table, even help your friends and family out. Okay, Velocity banking, that class is right here. So we talked about changing things within 2 weeks, changing your tax structures within 2 weeks, changing velocity bank within 2 weeks. These classes are only 8 hours long, so we're talking about 24 hours of education. Takes that pie chart from 33, 33, 33 to 10, 10, 80. Okay, where you're actually getting to keep 80% of your life, and you're only giving away 10 and 10 to the banks and the government. Okay, so I stress you, look, I can say this, my wife and I, our first year working with the founder of this education, we made $421,000, and because of that guy who taught those tax and legal strategies classes, we saved $160,000 in taxes just by following the class. Does it make sense? And then getting legal help, right? Okay. So I've covered the frequently asked questions on the menu and the education. Some other frequently asked questions. All right, do I get a license when I finish these classes? No, I don't have. The only license I have is a driver's license. You don't need a license to own property. You don't need a license to sell your own properties. You need to have a license to represent other people through the legal process of a deal, right? So real estate investors don't need to have a license. If you want to go get one for your own reasons, fantastic, go do it. But there's plenty of professionals out there that are willing to help you with the license because you're going to need them. All right, frequently asked questions. Do I get a certificate or something? Nope, you don't. Is this accredited? It is not accredited. This is simply education that you can use to go and do deals and grab checks, right? So you're going to create a new career for yourself, a new possibility and wealth for yourself. No reason to get jobs after taking these classes. The goal is to get you far away from jobs as possible. All right. Okay, that's the classes. I'm going to talk about funding this education now. I think it's a fantastic conversation. I'm going to cover 4 ways of funding this education that we cover, the last, 10 years. So here's the first way. Ready for this? Way number 1, cash or credit. I've learned something from wealthy people that I didn't really think about before, because I thought about every time I took $1 out of my wallet, it was to spend on something, right? If you have it, use it. Don't spend it. And I had a gentleman, I'm going to tell you a story. So I'm doing this follow-up in a room in Chicago once, and I had a gentleman say, so are you suggesting I should just drain my savings account at $20,000 and hand it over to you? Which is typical of the way people think about their money. If I give $20,000 to you, I'll never see it again, right? This is the spending mentality. So I said, you know what, sir, I'm not a financial planner, but let's take a look at the business relationship that you have with your bank in that savings account. And he was correct. He goes, I don't have a business, I have a savings account. I'm like, that's the problem of America. We're not taught business concepts. So every time you pull out a dollar out of your wallet or do, I want you to look at it as a business. How am I going to get that money back? Like, am I actually using this dollar? Is it going to duplicate itself, right? So what's your savings account getting you right now? He says 2%. Okay, no problem. So you have $20,000 in your savings account at 2%. Before taxes, how much are you profiting, or how much interest are you making, which I'm going to call it profit? Well, $400. Exactly. So $20,000 at 2% is $400 at the end of the year before taxes. Does that sound like a very fair relationship? Well, no. Right. So my suggestion is you take the savings account, right, and you take the $20,000 and you create a new business relationship with Renatus, okay? And you have 3 ways to get your money back on that withdrawal. One is real estate. Obviously, the services that you're going to get for Renatus is all about real estate. 2 is the tax savings you're going to have. 3 is going to be the velocity banking that you're going to be doing. So all these 3 classes, so between the real estate you could do, the tax savings you're going to have, and the velocity banking that's going to save you tons of interest, there's a lot more ways to get your money back than just profiting on a deal, okay? So you're going to get, and listen, there's a 4th way too. You might get your money back by referring individuals. My wife and I actually made enough money on referrals in our first 3 months to cover the costs of the education. Now, it doesn't happen like that for everybody. We were due diligent. We were very diligent about it. We actually dedicated 3 days a week, 8 hours a day, 3 days a week to do that, right? But we didn't have anything better to do. So we were able to get our money back that way. We were able to get our money back in taxes. We were able to get our money back in real estate, and the understanding on why and how the interest going to the bank isn't going to be the interest going to the bank that they told you were going to pay. So there you go. So don't be afraid. And one other thing, I had another person say, so they had a lot of fear around the money they were investing. And so I'm like, what's your biggest fear? They're like, well, I don't get my money back. Okay, no problem. So if you invest the $20,000 in Renatus today, and let's say you don't have your $20,000 back next week. So in 7 days, you didn't get your money back. Did you lose your money with Renatus? And they said the perfect answer, like, well, no. I'm like, why? And they said, well, because I have lifetime access. I'm like, exactly. Right? So the second week, you don't have your money back. Did you lose your money? No. Same reason. Okay. For some god-awful reason, you end up in a coma for a whole year, and then all of a sudden you wake up, you're like, hey, I got to go back to Renatus. Will it be over? No, because you have lifetime access. So don't worry. As fast as you can get it back or as slow as you need is going to be, the relationship. All right. 2. This is very interesting. Again, I'm going to preface this by saying I am not a financial planner. I just know that this is possible because I took classes. All right, you could actually go down and borrow the money from your own 401k. You're like, what? Yeah. You can go down, whoever's administrating your 401k, say, hey, listen, I would like to take a loan to myself. This is traditionally how it works, but again, you'll have a conversation with your administrator and they'll tell you the exact numbers behind this, the details. So in my world, most people can go down and borrow half of their 401k maxed out at $50,000. You can't take more than $50,000. You can only take half. So if you have $40,000 in your 401k, you can lend yourself half, $20,000, right? If you have $1 million in your 401k, capped out at 50 grand, max. Now, how does this work? And once again, ask a financial planner. Here's how I understand it. It's 1% above the prime rate, which is the interest rate. So right now, I believe, based on this webinar and the timing, it's 4.25%. 5 years. So you have 5 years to pay yourself back. But here's the cool thing. You're paying yourself back. You are the bank. You're now banking yourself to actually get your own education, paying yourself back the interest on that loan. Something to think about or consider. Okay, option number 3 is life insurance. A few years ago, I had an insurance broker. Him and his dad had been in insurance for a long time, and he brought this to my attention. He's like, listen, did you know that you can actually borrow money, the cash value from your life insurance? I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. So he suggested they can go to their insurance agent, anybody can go to an insurance agent and say, listen, I'd like to borrow the cash value that's accrued, borrow from the cash value that's accrued on my life insurance policy. Here's the cool thing about that. And again, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I can tell you this. The only time it's going to matter if you don't pay it back is when you're dead. Your benefactors will get the principal less the interest and accrued interest. The principal plus accrued interest. Doesn't mean I'm not telling you to pay it back. I'm just telling you that you're buying yourself time, right? If you're not under pressure to pay it back, pay yourself completely, overfund your life insurance policy if you want. There's actually classes in Renatus to teach you to do that kind of stuff and how to do it the right way. But this is a possibility that some people have used across the country to fund this education. Just a thought. Okay, and then the 4th way to do this is very popular. One of the instructors, Eric Counts, who runs a company called the Credit Nerds, has put together a funding program for students to actually get education and even students to get lines of credit and stuff for real estate. So write this down. Get funded online.com. Getfundedonline.com. All one word. All right, so when you go to getfundedonline.com, you're going to do something called a funding assessment. They're going to have you go to a third-party monitoring site. It'll cost you $1 to set up that relationship. I think you should keep it. I kept it because it's like watching my credit score like a video game, right? So that credit monitoring site is a preferred monitoring site that Eric likes to use to help his clients get lines of credit, because the good credit companies, the credit restoration companies, after your credit is restored, they're going to ask you, now what do you want to do with that great credit you have? Some people say, I want to buy a boat. And then he'll be like, that's the smartest thing to do. Why don't we start a company, maybe do some real estate with that credit? So you're going to learn things about credit that are going to help you advance your career and your financial position. Eric will be a crusader for that for you if you'd like him to be in his company. So let's take a look. So your idea here is you're going to get a funding assessment done. This funding assessment won't be a charge at all from Credit Nerds at all. So they're going to give you a consult. They're going to take a look at your situation. And here's what they've been able to do for students all over the country. There are 3 types of people on the line with us watching this follow-up. Let me show you. You may be one of those people. You'll figure it out in a second here, okay? So there is credit-worthy people, okay? Now, typically, case-by-case scenario, okay? So I don't know what your case is, but I have been told if folks have a 640 credit score and above, plus cash flow, if you have cash flow, there's a good chance they're going to be able to help you with some of the relationships they have in the lending industry, okay? And here's how that works. They're going to do something, please pay attention, called trending. A lot of folks think that and you're probably right, if you have great credit, you might be able to go to a bank and say, hey, Mr. Banker, I would like to borrow or get a line of credit, or maybe call your credit cards you have right now and extend the lines. You can go to the bank and say, hey, I'd like to borrow $20,000 to get into this fantastic education that will stick with me for life. And they're going to pull up your credit score. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get an inquiry on your credit, and all 3 credit scores are going to drop because of that inquiry. Now, let's say the bank that you're sitting at loves one of the credit companies, credit reporting companies, and it's not your best score. Well, they're going to tell you no. So here's what you just did. You just got an inquiry, and all 3 credit scores are going to drop, okay? Then you're going to walk next door to the next bank. They're going to check your credit. It's going to drop all 3 scores, and maybe that middle score is the one that's just under, they're going to tell you no too. Then you walk into that 3rd bank, and you get an inquiry, and all credit scores drop, and all of a sudden, your good score, boom, just dropped under what they were looking for, and you're going to get a no. If you do that 6 times inside of 6, if you do that succinctly right in a row, you will not get touched for another 6 months. You're going to have to wait. You have to cycle that out, let it wash away, and then go back to the bank. So in order to avoid that, they created this getfundedonline.com so that they can actually introduce you to the relationships that they've been working with for quite some time. Okay, so here's how it's going to look. You're going to end up doing a funding assessment, and then they're going to come back to you, and they're going to give you all the relationships that they have that are favorable to you, right? They're also going to know which relationships you shouldn't be talking to, okay? Because they've helped a lot of folks get lines of credit, so here's trending. They're going to say, hey, Joe, listen, we're not going to go to these people because we already know they're going to tell you no. We're going to go to these people based on the trends that they're lending on. Okay? So, and then they're going to have a consult with you. This guy right here, he's willing to do 0% interest for 18 months. This person right here, this bank right here, this institution is willing to do 0 for 12 months. This one right here is going to be 9% immediately, right? So you can actually shop with these guys and say, okay, let's not talk to those people, let's talk to these people, and let's go. Okay? Now, let's say they end up getting you, and we've had a lot of folks overfunded, let's say they end up getting you $82,000 worth of approvals. All right, so they're going to come back and say, hey, we got $82,000 worth of approvals, you've agreed to take that. After you get all the lines of credit, there will be a charge there, 9.99% for the service that they actually just did for you. Okay? But you won't get charged that until you have success, and you get to determine that success by actually saying yes to whatever lines you want. Okay? If for some reason after that consult, you're like, nope, not going to go with anybody, there's no charge. Okay? Okay, now, the second type of person on the line with us today is, hang on a second, let me just do this right, is credit challenged. Okay? And I'm going to simply put it this way. If for some reason you know that your credit score is 640 or below, but you have some cash flow, this might be an option for you. There's a company out there that's working in relationship with Renatus right now that is willing to give you a line of credit to work just with Renatus. Those are $2,000 to $12,000 worth of lines of credit. This is a one-way street, so you're just going to pay that loan back to them and be done with it. This, however, is a two-way street. The first option is lines of credit that doesn't care what you're using it for. You could use it for real estate, Renatus, whatever, and once you pay them off, they're probably going to come back and say, hey, congratulations, we got you more lines of credit. Now, with the Velocity Banking class, with that plus the Velocity Banking class is going to be pure gold for you. Trust me. Take the Velocity Banking class, come back, get these lines of credit working for you. You're going to be paying off debt and student loans, car loans, house loans. It's going to disappear on you. It's great. Okay. Now, there is one more person that's on the line watching this. That person is Laughable. Now, don't feel bad. This was me when I came in, right? Even though I had a successful career, even though my wife and I could live 36 doors over Michigan Avenue at one time, even though we could have a South Beach place and afford that at one time, even though I had a European car at one point. Doesn't matter. Something happened. I lost a job, not because I lost a job, but because technology changed and they couldn't use it anymore. They were going more internet, not sales anymore, didn't need me anymore, right? So boom, I'm done, and now we're losing everything and the credit's crashing, right? Okay, have no fear, even we have a chance, right? So watch this. There is a relationship with Renatus that is really built on billing. This relationship means that you are already pre-approved, 100% approved, and guaranteed to be accepted here, okay? Here's how that works. You put down 20% of the education that you choose, and the other 80% will happen inside of the billing cycles. So what does that look like? And there's an interest rate, because the company that's doing the billing has got to get paid too. So here's what it looks like. On the Essentials program, that would be $400 plus $25 fee to get that done, and $101 per month times 18 months. Congratulations, you have your Essentials. You don't even have to think about it. Just tell the person who invited you here, I want to do that, and you're in. Congratulations. Okay. On the Advanced package, you could put $1,600 down plus that $25. And on the 80% billing, it is approximately, it's in the range of 250%. No, not 250. That's wrong. $250 a month times 24 months. And then if for some reason you like the idea of the extreme and you want to have lifetime complimentary access to that stuff just like I have, well, that would be $4,000 down plus that 25. And approximately a $500 a month payment times 36 months, okay? Now, I will tell you this. There is a caveat with this billing cycle. If for some reason, after 90 days, you go into collection on this, so you haven't paid your bills for 90 days, and you go into collections, you forfeit lifetime access. I'm telling you that right now just so that you understand that, because I'm laying out right now, and you're like, oh, that's an option for me. Right, but just make sure you're staying on top of your payments, because they're going to shut down your education, and then you'll forfeit the lifetime access on the billing cycle. Got it? Okay, frequently asked questions. What's the interest rate? The billing here is 18% interest. I do believe that this one over here is 12% interest, and this will vary. This one over here will vary, but once again, you're going to get these two right here will come because you did the funding assessment. The only way into those two possibilities to find out if you even qualify is to do a funding assessment. Go to getfundedonline.com and click on the blue button that says Get Started Here. Okay? That's your option. You can do that right now. Okay. I am done sharing the education. I'm done sharing the funding. I do have a list of questions here, or frequently asked questions. I'm going to handle that at the end. I'm going to cover the referring side of this business for you guys so that you understand it, and then you can opt in or opt out of it. If you're not even interested in it, You can shut it down right now. Call up the person who invited you here. Let's get started. Maybe even click the link on the Helios program here that we have and get started with your education. Okay. With that being said, I am going to close this down, and I'm going to bring up, hang on a second, the compensation program with Renatus. And then I've got a list of questions here I'll finish up with, and then we'll be finished. Okay? All right. Remember we talked about two possible income streams or systems, income systems. One is the real estate system, and it is a system. Real estate's always been a system. Understand the numbers. Make sure you're doing things right legally with contracts. I don't even care if you're being lent to you and your brother are doing deal. Make sure it's all papered up, right? Get the right attorneys in place just because it's business, not family, okay? All right. The other income system that you have available to you, separate, completely separate from the services you could have on the education, is an independent marketing affiliate program that Renatus has set up to help its expansion around the country. Let me tell you why this was set up. I'm going to tell you why it's set up because I'm being advisory to the founder of this education. I get to hang out with him. Now, think about this. When a guru wants you to come down to a hotel, and I've had this happen to me. I was driving down the road. I hear a radio show. This is when I wanted to be in real estate before I found Renatus. So I'm driving down the road. The guru, they say, hey, this guy that you know is coming to this city, and the first 10 people that call get a free ticket. Otherwise, it's $500 for these 3 days. So here's me. I'm like, wow, that sounds great. I'm quickly dialing. I'm getting on the phone. I win a free ticket. Isn't that credible? Yeah. I go down to the event, and I'm like, I was gloating a little bit. I'm like, hey, I got a free ticket. And they're like, I got a free ticket too. And then the guy next to me got a free ticket. The guy behind me got a free ticket. So that event started with a little bit of a duping for me. Now, the money that these guys pay to have those kind of marketing campaigns going on, to have those kind of experts say, hey, we'll charge $500, but not really free. The scripts that are written, the TV time, the airtime on TV, the airtime on radio is an extraordinary big bill, okay? So here is what the founder of Renatus decided to do. Hey, instead of paying for TV ads and radio ads and campaign companies or advertising companies to work for us, why don't we just turn that money back into individuals that could use it? People like us, right? So if you can be the word of mouth advertising for us, if you have some great experience with Renatus, go talk about somebody about it. If you want to put an ad out there and make it a business, go ahead and do that. And then you can actually put people in these rooms or on these webinars. If they make the same decision that a lot of people make for these services, we're going to pay you a commission on it. Okay? And I took advantage of it simply because my wife and I weren't making any money. And because of this compensation program I'm going to lay out for you, I looked at my wife and I said, if that is real, we will never need jobs again, based on what I just saw. And my wife and I have never needed a job since that time. Again, we were putting 24 hours a day, or not a day, 8 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week, focusing on just getting people down to the room to make money so that we can actually afford to take classes and do real estate. Okay, we didn't have jobs to start with. Okay, I'm not suggesting you go crazy and quit your job tomorrow because this comp plan looks as good to you as it did to me. If I had a job, I would not have quit it. I would have done the comp plan first, and then if my money got big enough off the comp plan, I would quit my job, or my real estate got big enough, I could quit the job. Okay, with those being said, let's cover this compensation program. All right. It does take, let me just change the color here to a color that is nondescript inside this page. So it does take $125 to become an independent marketing affiliate with Renatus. Okay? That is an annual fee if you would like to continue to get paid by Renatus. The minute you're done with Renatus, you're like, you know what? I don't want to pay them anymore. I'm not going to, you can just shut it down. You're done with being an affiliate. Let's say halfway through the year, you're like, well, this isn't working out. I don't want to be an affiliate anymore. Then don't. You don't have to get on any webinars. There's no demands on you. You can do this business the way you want to do it inside your IMA agreement. There you go. But independent marketing affiliate. Now, I will tell you this, the idea behind Renatus was different than the traditional multi-level marketing plan that was out there. They took a look at different models. They're like, all right, there's multi-level marketing, and then there's these different direct distribution comp plans where people get paid tremendously well per sale. All right? And this is what they modeled after. So if you take a look at the industry, usually you have to have this huge team to make any kind of money whatsoever. What I appreciated about this comp plan was once I was trained up and qualified, I could make $1,000, $3,000, $9,000, or $10,000 per sale. I didn't even have to participate in the team stuff. In fact, if for some reason you don't want to participate in the team stuff, which is lucrative, just send an email to Renata saying, no, I don't want to help anybody. I just want to sell people. Makes sense? Completely possible. I've already asked the founder that. He's like, yeah, we'll just have them make sales. They don't have to build teams at all. Isn't that great? Okay, so let's talk about this comp plan. I'm just going to erase really quick here. So just get rid of some of this stuff. Let's talk about the qualification line. The line that you see on the sheet here that says qualified is the most important thing to consider when you start with this program. They had to come up with some decentralized training program. Decentralized meaning you don't have to come to Renatus, or actually Renatus isn't going to have to be responsible for your training. What they did do was they put that on the local marketers to help out the local people. Okay? This qualifying line right here is the importance of that. That's the key to it all. On this side of the qualification line, you are working with your affiliate, your qualified affiliate, to get training locally from them. Hey, how do you lead generate? Or how do you talk to folks in your life that might be interested in this? What do I say to get them down? What does an ad look like? How do I go to a networking event and network the right way? It's like all these ideas have already been used by the people that you're going to be working with. So their job, their responsibility, if they want to assist you and get an override, is to make sure that you're taken care of. Make sense? As a qualified affiliate. So you're in training with them through the qualifying process. So on this side of the qualifying line, you're learning. On this side of the qualifying line, we're not saying, hey, you're done learning. You are now a qualified affiliate. You are completely entitled to the full commissions because nobody needs to help you anymore. Does this make sense? Okay. However, when you are going through training, it's a very interesting relationship. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, to establish that relationship, we have to establish what you want to do with Renatus. So there's really 4 choices that you're going to make after this webinar to do the marketing or not. Actually, 5 choices if you're like, I don't want to do the marketing at all, no problem, just take the services, education services, do some real estate. But if you want to do this, here's your 4 choices. Choice number 1, not enrolling in anything. You do not have to be a student to actually enroll other students. You can just say, you know what, education looks awesome, love the idea of velocity banking, just going to do referring side. Completely within your right. That is just the 125 and get going, okay? However, you do have to go through that learning period with your qualified affiliate. So you will have a qualified affiliate working with you to help you out, holding your hand, so to say. Here's your requirement. So here's you're like, okay, I want to actually do this. Maybe, in my case, I put an ad out there in the world. I put a roadside sign out there, or I drop a flyer on a windshield. There's lots of ways to market. Just check your IMA agreement to make sure you're doing it within the boundaries Renatus has. So you put an ad out there, and you have a person you have an individual that saw your ad, they came down to the meetings, and they're like, I'm in, I love it. So that person decides to get the essentials and the extreme. Okay. Here's the challenge right now. You're not qualified at the essentials yet. Okay, so you're going through qualification at the essentials. What that means is you're not going to get credit for that extreme. You're only going to get credit for the essentials. That essentials is going to pay $1,000. So Renatus just received that order. They're like, okay, we owe some people some money. So $1,000 is going to go to the field, being you and your qualified affiliate, the person that's qualified to help you. You're going to get $125 of that money, and your qualified affiliate is going to get $875 of that money. Okay? Now, you might ask yourself, what the heck? Why are they getting so much? because they're the people that are going to be taking your texts. You know, I was doing some recording here, I had 10 texts on my phone, and I had to get back to some of those affiliates to help them with their questions. And that's how involved we are as qualified affiliates. Our job is to make sure that your life is easy when it comes to understanding what you got to do to get qualified. All right? I'm not saying the work is easy. This is the easiest path to it based on what we went through. Okay. All right. On the second essentials, you get 125. The qualified affiliate helping you gets 875. On the third essentials, you get 125. The qualified affiliate gets 875. Okay? Now you have reached your qualifying line at that service that you're actually referring people or selling people. What Renatus is saying is, look, you have watched 3 orders go in start to finish, and we're talking about from the acquisition of the lead or the prospect, through the conversations, through the how do I use the back office, to how do I put this order in. That qualified affiliate is going to be helping you with all of it. So they deserve to get paid for that. That's decentralized training. But on the fourth one, Renatus is saying, hey, you've watched enough essentials from start to finish. You should be able to put the next one in. So you deserve all the money. Now, if your affiliate, your qualified affiliate, has not opted out of the team building aspect of this thing, then they're going to get $100 every time you refer somebody for the rest of your life. Provided they keep their contract in place, you keep your contract in place, that relationship will just go on. Make sense? So they're now going to benefit for life every time you put an order in. That is not coming from you. Renatus is actually paying your qualified affiliate that override. It's called an override. You guys with me? That's option number 1. So if you're in the line today and you're like, yeah, I was wondering about that. Do I have to buy the education? Nope, you don't. You can actually just be an affiliate for $125 and go crazy with your qualified affiliate helping you out through that qualification process and start making thousands of dollars on the essentials. All right, let's talk about enrolling in the education. So that is choice number 1. We're done with that. Let's talk about choice number 2. If you are on the line here with us today and you're like, you know what, I think I want to get that essentials because of the taxes, because of the velocity banking. I don't know if I really want to do real estate yet, but they've definitely made me interested in paying less taxes and paying less to the bank. Okay, great. Congratulations. That's number 2. Now watch this. Because you are actually having your order put in by your qualified affiliate. So when you say, hey, I want the essentials, your qualified affiliate say, all right, come on, let's put your order in. You're watching that order go in means it's going to be part of your training. So by actually just getting your essentials, you're going to be trained up through that experience. Okay? So now you will actually count as that first stick figure because watching your order go in is part of training. Congratulations. Now, when you put your first essentials in, you are not going to get $125. You are going to get $500, and the QA, or qualified affiliate, is going to get $500. So what Renatus is saying is, hey, if you get your essentials, we're going to split the money between you and your qualified affiliate. On the second essentials, you're not going to get $125, you're going to get $500, and the qualified affiliate's going to get $500. Now, here's a frequently asked question about this. Well, why are you getting paid more? You're getting paid more because you bought the education. No, that is not it at all. The reason you're getting paid more is because we don't have to work as hard to help you get certified or qualified. Does that make sense? We don't have to work that hard. And I'm going to give you an example, because I've been doing this now for 10 years. This is exactly why this was created this way. The founder understood this was going to happen. When I'm sitting down with one of my IMAs that I'm helping out, and let's say they don't have the education, it's harder to help them. Because now you have Mr. Water Bottle, right? You have Mr. Water Bottle, he's come down to a meeting, he's come down to the follow-up, and all of a sudden Mr. Water Bottle is like, this seems awesome. Hey, Scott, what program did you get into? They always ask for social validation. I'm like, well, I did the extreme. It gave me lifetime access. It'll never shut off on me. It's like an all-access pass to the wonderful world of Renatus. And they're like, that sounds good. And then they turn to the person I'm helping, and they say, hey, Mr. Clicker, which one did you get? And Mr. Clicker says, oh, I didn't get any of the education. I'm just referring people. Now they're going to ask the question to this person. So how does that work, and why did you choose that? And I've heard genius answers like this. Well, I'm going to make money referring people, and I'm going to use that money to pay for the education later on. It's a completely, you can do that. There's nobody telling you that you can't do that. The challenge is the person that just heard that now it becomes their plan. You do not get paid for signing people up for 125. That is not how this works. That's just an affiliate program. That money goes to Renatus to handle the servers and the customer service and all this other stuff, right? So that is not a service bought, right? We didn't sell a service for that, so there's no commissions. Does that make sense? So it's a lot harder to help you get qualified if for some reason the person over here is going to follow your path. And a lot of times they do because of social validation. It's a lot easier to put 125 in than figure out 20 grand through financing. Okay, with that being said, do it the way you want to do it. The reason that Renatus pays bigger is because it's easier as qualified affiliates to help you, okay, because you're a product of the service. Okay, all right, so there we go. So now you're certified earlier, and now on the third one, you're going to get $1,000, and you're going to get $1,000 on and on and on, again, provided that you've paid your 125, and your qualified affiliate will now override you $100, 5% of gross, $100 every time you enroll somebody else. You got that? All right. Okay, now we've covered how to get qualified at the essentials the essential service, education service. You're a product of the service when you start using it. Okay, watch this. So we've covered this. Let's cover this down here. So remember I told you that you have to get qualified at the essentials first, start making thousands, and now you're going to qualify at the other program, the other service the education company has, which is the accelerated investor training. Okay? So every time an advance is written, $3,000 is generated. Every time an extreme is written, $9,000 is generated. That is not going to go in your pocket. You are still in learning mode with your qualified affiliate at that product, okay? You will get the $1,000 for the essentials. This money is going to go to your qualified affiliate. The credit is going to go to you in this container. So let's talk about that for a second before you get too confused. Let me wipe this away. Okay, an advance goes in, $3,000 generated. An extreme goes in, $9,000 is generated. Your qualified affiliate is going to get the cash for helping you. You are going to get the credit in this bucket. So either $9,000 is going to go in the bucket, $3,000 is going to go in the bucket, $9,000 is going to go in the bucket. Your job is to fill this bucket full of $45,000 worth of commissions. Once it is full, you are now qualified to keep the money, and your qualified affiliate will start overriding you. Okay? Your QA will start overriding you. What happened to the 1,000s while you were going through that qualification? You get the 1,000s. So you're piling up all these $1,000 essentials commissions in your bank account while you're going through this. Okay? So there you go. So you're making thousands while you're going through through qualification on the bottom. Okay, I'm cleaning it off. All right. Now that we've covered choice number 1 and choice number 2, let's cover choice number 3 and 4. If you are on the line with us today and you're thinking about going through choice number 3 or choice number 4, congratulations. You're actually going to get bonuses that is going to help you take care of your education tuition quicker. Bonus number 1 is called the CHOP. Okay? The CHOP simply says, if you decide to do choice number 3 or 4, the advanced or extreme, the computer at Renatus will automatically remove the top of the container. You do not have a $45,000 container. You only have a $27,000 container. Congratulations. Okay? What that helps you do is not bear the cost of the education for too long. This is less, right? Okay, bonus number 2, your own tuition counts. Your own tuition counts. What that means is if you decide to do an advance, $3,000 is going to be paid to your QA. If you decide to do an extreme, $9,000 is going to be paid to your QA on your order. Well, that is going to go into your container or bucket to start it. So it'll be $27,000 minus whatever you decided to get. Okay? So now, in my case, they put $9,000 in my container, my bucket, because my QA got paid that. So I was left with an $18,000 bucket immediately. there is one more bonus that only belongs to the extreme holders. So if you are an extreme combination tuition holder, then bonus number 3 belongs to you. Bonus number 3 is called simultaneous certification. Simultaneous certification. And it really, really, really does speed things up. Again, the founder is very compassionate. He's very generous. He says, look, if somebody's going to invest the $20,000 into this education, why don't we help them get it back really quick if they decide to do this with us? Okay, watch this. So remember I told you that you have to qualify at your essentials first, and then you qualify at the bucket later on? That does not apply to the extreme tuition holders. You can qualify at your essentials and your accelerated investor training services at the same time. What that means, let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to show you as an example for an individual. All right, so let's say you decide to get your essentials and your extreme. The Renatus computer is the system's going to chop off your bucket. It's going to drop your own extreme into your bucket, and that's where you start your life. Let's say the first person you bring down decides to get their essentials and their extreme. Okay, well, let me just change the color here, just for the difference. Okay, what's going to happen is they're going to drop their money in the bucket and give you credit at the essentials, and you're going to be paid $500. You guys see that? And then the next person that comes down, they decide, person number 2 decides to get their essentials and their extreme. They're going to drop that one in the bucket simultaneous to the essentials, and you're going to get paid $500. Okay? So you just made $500 and $500. Your qualified affiliate just made $500 and $500, and also $9,000 and $9,000, right? Helping you get qualified. But simultaneous, you got qualified at the essentials and the AITs at the same time, simultaneously. Okay? Now, to show you how simple this could be, a lot of folks who take on the referring side, the IMA side, and the real estate side. So they're like, okay, I'm going to get my extreme combo. So in my case, I got the extreme combo. And then my first 2 were extreme combos, and I was done in just 2 orders and 2 people. Okay? If you don't do it that way, you're going to have to do 1, 2, 3 qualified. Then, let's say you put $3,000 in the bucket. That's going to be, that's going to be 15. That could be 15 of these or 5 of these. You guys with me on that? You could put 15 in the bucket, and you could put 5 in the bucket, or you can choose to do 1 and enroll 2 if you're fortunate enough to have that happen in your first 2. Okay? All right, so just to give you a sense of how that works. Got it? Okay. Now, that's covering how to get qualified. Okay? That's you getting qualified. Let's talk about you as a qualified affiliate. This gets really interesting. So now we're going to talk about you, the QA, and you, the QA. Okay? All right, watch. This is awesome. So now you're qualified to make all the commissions, right? You're qualified to help other people out. You'll get one of these 5 stars here. This means I am qualified at both the Essentials service and the AIT service to make full commissions and help anybody else that comes in right after that. I'm full overrides, you name it. It's very interesting. Please pay attention. This is where it gets crazy. Okay, so you're a qualified affiliate, and all of a sudden a person named Joe comes in and says, hey, he watches the exposures. Remember, you can put them into meetings that you're not doing. So you don't necessarily have to be a good salesperson. You can just put them in front of good salespeople that they'll see the same thing that you saw, and all of a sudden they're making a decision that you benefit on. Okay? So now Joe says, you know what? I want the essentials and I want the extreme. Well, congratulations. Joe is going to chop off the bucket that he's going through with you. Joe is going to put $9,000 worth of credit into his own bucket, but that means you're getting paid that $9,000 because you're a qualified affiliate. So you're going to get $1,000 on Joe's order, on his essentials, you're going to get $9,000 on his AIT for a total of $10,000. Now, this is where it got interesting for me when I started looking at this. I gave up my life to a company, most of my life to a company that let me go after 15 years, okay? So in this case, I started thinking, wait, let me get this straight. If I just find 10 people in a year at $10,000 once I'm qualified, I'll make $100,000 annually. And I don't have to worry about a boss. I don't have to worry about getting laid off. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, simply because it's up to me. It's just pure math now. That gave me a level of freedom. I was like, I like the way this feels. Okay, now let's talk about it this way. So Joe is your guy. Joe turns to you and says, hey, did you choose to be a qualified affiliate? Did you choose that team thing? Should I talk to you or somebody else? No, I'm a qualified affiliate. Remember, you can opt out of that. You can opt out of the team building thing altogether. He goes, okay, great. I want to do the referring thing too. Will you help me? And you'll say, yes, it's my job to help you, so here we go. So Joe decides to go bring some people down. Maybe it's his friends. I don't know. Maybe it's Bill and Ted having an excellent adventure, right? Okay, so here's Bill. Bill sees what? He sees the introduction meeting. He sees the follow-up. He turns to Joe and he says, dude, this is awesome. What did you do? Oh, I got the extreme. Great, I'm going to do the same thing. Ted, the same thing. What'd you do? I got the extreme. Great, I'm going to do the same thing. So Bill decides to get the essential, and Ted decides to get the essentials. Well, 500 of that's going to go to Joe. 500 of that's going to go to Joe. But you, as the qualified affiliate helping him out, is going to get that money. You're going to get $500 too, right? Now watch this. These guys decide to do the extreme as well. So Bill decides to get the extreme, and Ted decides to get the extreme. Well, what happens? That's 9,000 and 9,000 going into the container for Joe. So he's going to get credit for those two orders. You're going to get paid on those two orders for helping him out. Okay? So the bare minimum that I get helping a person get into an extreme tuition and then helping two other people he brings down get into extreme tuition is $29,000 helping him out or them out. Okay? That's $29,000. So here's what I looked at. Ready for this? I was like, okay, in this case, I don't have to go find 10 people to make six figures. I just have to help 4 people get qualified. So they get into the program, and then they get qualified. That is equal to $116,000 a year. And I thought to myself, this is a whole new career for me, because I could just focus on one person a quarter, and I can make a significant income to take care of my family. You guys with me on this? Again, do me a favor. Do not quit a job over this. It's dangerous, destructive. Go do your job. We can assist you in referring people, get you, all trained up and all, you learned a lot of stuff. And then pretty soon, if for some reason this income out does that, I see it a lot happen a lot, but don't do it prematurely. Okay. All right, so that's actually helping somebody get qualified. Let's talk about overrides, because you will now override Joe for the rest of your life in this example. Here we go. And erased. All right, ready? Okay, so now we're talking about you. Oh, I'm going to do that in blue. Hang on, let's keep the colors the same. So you are still the QA. You're still the qualified affiliate. You are still the QA. Okay? Now remember, Joe is over here in overrides now. He became qualified. He's qualified off. He's in overrides. What happens to Bill and Ted is a little crazy. Bill and Ted remain with you as affiliates so that you can help them get qualified. Okay? Because you did a lot of the work, right? So the benefit is, hey, you guys get to hang out with the person that you heard from the most. So I got a bucket for Bill. I got a bucket for Ted. I got 2 essentials owed to me by Bill and Ted. So you just increased your earning potential, but you also increased your workload because now you got 2 more people that were brought down by Joe that you helped get in. You guys with me? Okay, there you go. Now let's talk about Joe for a second. On Joe, you are not just overriding his sales, and this is a very huge distinction here that you have to understand. Every time Joe puts an order in, you will get 5%. That's $100, $300, $900, $1,000. Okay, every time Joe puts an order in. However, let's say he puts that order in and you get paid. That affiliate is now working with Joe to get qualified. you're not just overriding Joe's sales, you are overriding Joe's business. So as he helps these affiliates put orders in, you're getting 5% of that as well. It's volume through the business, not just sales from Joe. So he could have 10 affiliates that he's helping out. You're actually benefiting from, you benefited because they came in, then you're going to benefit because of their training. You guys with me? So let's take a look how that looks. So now all of a sudden, this affiliate right here brings down 2 people as well to get qualified. Those people will remain with Joe, just like Bill and Ted remained with you, and then this guy breaks off into his own business. You will also override that business. You will override that business and any affiliates inside that business that are actually working with that affiliate to get qualified. So let's play that again. So let's say that this person right here finds two new people. Boom. This guy will actually get into his own business, right? He's now QA as well. So all these people are now QA'd, and you're going to make overrides on the business going through, the volume going through the business. So that's another 5%. So watch this. Let's just finish this up with this. So now he has affiliates working with him or her. You're getting override. So you're getting 5% of the volume on the businesses, not just the sales on the person. Now when I saw that, I was like, it stops at 3. I'm like, holy cow, could we create a business, right? And I can tell you this, my wife and I, you can figure this out for yourself. Ready? My wife and I have done pretty good in the last 7 years and 29 days as this webinar is being done. We have over 4,000 folks that we've helped out. Right? Not folks ourselves personally. Because of this compensation program, I believe that my wife and I have only helped out 40 people personally. However, because those 40 people went on to be qualified, and then we got to work with the people that we helped get in, right? It's grown, right? It just kept growing and growing and growing. So we have over 4,000 people as of today that we've helped out. So imagine that if you're multiplying that by just overrides, right? The 100s to 1,000s, it's a pretty big number, okay? I will show you this. Maybe they'll blank it out. So that's the override. Oh, let's talk about Bill and Ted. So when Bill and Ted get qualified, they're just going to join Joe over here on the first generation, right? So these guys are going to create businesses that you're going to override. Right? And that will leave behind 4 folks to work with. So now these people will turn into 4 people if it works out perfectly. And then you'll have 8, then you'll have 16, and you have, just keep going. It's awesome. And that's exactly how it worked out for my wife and I. Okay? Okay, now the last thing I'm going to show you on this is I'm going to show you I'm going to show you how they pay, and you're going to get to see a chance to see that. Hopefully it's still working. Oh, here we go. Okay. They can redact whatever online, or they can choose to show you this. If for some reason they don't show you after this, here, let me tell you what to do. You should contact whoever got you to this system here. There may even be a Get Started Right Now button on the newer system we're creating. So you can hit that Get Started. I am ready to get started. Boom. You can actually put your order in right now. Contact. If you got any personal questions for the person who invited you, do me a favor. Do not get started. This is not a program where we want to sell you. A lot of our rooms don't have closing tables for a reason. We're not looking for impulsive people. We're looking for intelligent people. The one thing that Renatus doesn't want is buyer's remorse. So please make sure this is right for you. Get with whoever you have to make a decision with, your wife, maybe your parents, if for some reason you're young enough to actually consider them help, right? Or good counsel, right? So do me a favor, just make sure this is right for you before you click on anything. In fact, maybe talk to a human again and talk to them about their experience. Does it make sense? So now that we finished with the comp plan, let me go over some frequently asked questions. Got it? So please pay attention. You might go, oh yeah, what a good question. Okay, here we go. What are the requirements of an IMA? The requirements of an IMA is simply the $125 and stick within the boundaries of the IMA agreement and the handbook that you're going to get as an IMA. Okay? How much training is involved both in time and money? It is not a time or money training. It is an experiential training, as you just saw through the comp plan. The experience of putting in orders is how training works, okay? Is there a cost to training? No. If there is a cost, if for some reason let me rephrase that. We do trainings at our office in Chicago, and we tell people, if you'd like to come to the training, it's $50. If you don't want to come to the training, you don't spend anything. But Renatus is not looking for any money for your training. In fact, you'll have plenty of IMA training in your back office. Let me show you that right now. It's a good question. Let's pull that up. So we go to training, and I go to IMA training. There's going to be plenty of IMA training for you back here that you can watch, no extra cost. For the $125, you get that. In fact, the founder of this education has a 10-step training that you can watch. The national conference trainings, all the recordings are back there from last year's national conference. The money matrix back there. So you can actually just watch the trainings without a single dime out of your pocket. So you've done the 125, you get access to all this training that you see on the screen. Got it? And this isn't the real estate training. You have to actually enroll in the services to get the real estate training. This is IMA marketing, enrolling folks in the education training. Okay. Are there marketing materials? Yes. We have flyers and intensive emails you can send out. The cost of doing that's going to be on you. There is prepared stuff that you could use, but getting it printed, getting it sent out in an email chimp or whatever, MailChimp or something like that is all going to be on you. The cost of that is going to be on you. Okay. What are the upfront costs to be an IMA? $125 annually to become an IMA and $120 annually to remain an IMA. What ongoing costs are there to be an IMA? Renatus only has a $125, so the ongoing every single year $125 cost. What restrictions are there for IMAs? There is a handbook that you will get once you sign up. You should follow that. I know, I'll give you an example of a few things. You can't put Renatus in a URL that you're going to use to market. Only Renatus can handle the name of Renatus. You're not licensed to use that in a URL. You're not posting job ads, right? That's going to get you canned right away. You got to keep the language correct, right? You got to abide by not promising anything, right? These kind of things. But all that is also covered in your handbook, okay? What happens if I sign up and then decide I don't want to be an IMA? If you decide that in your 7-day right of rescission, you have a 7-day right of rescission on the education, so you can cancel inside that 7 days, no questions asked. And the same thing with the IMA, the 125, you have 7 days. If you say, you know what, in the 3rd day I don't want to do this, it's no cost. Just get your money back. After that, the minute you decide not to be an IMA and you stop referring people, I guess you're done being an IMA, right? So it's all based on you, okay? To continue being an active IMA, am I required to create a network of distributors beneath me? No. In fact, let me tell you this. There's no sales requirements. There's a lot of other companies out there that says, well, in order for us to keep paying you, you have to have a minimum sales requirement. That is not the case with Renatus. In fact, I have got a 2-year plan in place right now that says I'm going to drop my cell phone in a bucket of water because I've done enough work and helped enough people that I'm going to be finished, right? But I still get the money. Here's an even better part. My kids, if for some reason my wife and I were called up to heaven and run some meetings up there, the kids we could will the income, the system income that we're making to the kids. Isn't that great? So think about that. Okay. What will be the emphasis of my selling? Example, educational services or IMA opportunity? Well, technically, we don't sell the IMA opportunity. There's no commissions on that. I've never sold the IMA opportunity. I only sell services of the education, right? So that's the only thing I'm selling. So there you go. The emphasis is only on selling the education. How does the comp plan work? Just showed you that in extreme detail. How many hours a week do you spend on the business when you join? In my case, my wife and I were putting in probably each of us 24 to 32 hours a week each on the enrolling of students, and then the rest of the time we were taking classes. And then, we were broke, we were unemployed, we had felt what kind of pain that was, and we never wanted to experience that again. So we really worked hard at that. Okay, how many hours a week do you spend now? I can tell you, I'm in a different phase in my life. I'm in a really push to help other people phase, so I'm traveling a lot. I spend Tuesdays in a city, I spend Wednesdays in a city, and then I spend Thursday back home, right? So, but I'm picking those cities for 6 months, building them up, teaching them how it works, and then moving on. It's a part of duplication. It helps the overrides. Do you understand? I do travel twice a month on Saturdays to go help markets with what we call Super Saturdays, which is the marketing training. That's what I specialize in. Even though I've done real estate, I'm not the most successful person at the real estate game. There's way more people that are successful at that, but I am one of the more successful people on the referring side and the marketing side. I come from a marketing background. It just fit me perfectly. It was great. How many people have you recruited as a new distributor? Have you recruited? Right now I'm sitting at over 4,000 people, 4,000 IMAs in my organization. Most of those folks have at least the essentials, right? I'm just saying that. Okay. How long have you been in the business? 7 with Renatus, 7 days and 7 years, 29 days as of this calendar day. Right? It is January 29th, 2018. So my wife and I started the first day in January. So here we are. 7 years, 29 days. Okay. How many do you receive? How many do you receive payment under the comp plan? How much? You know what? I've done really well. I don't know if they can redact this or not and beat me out if they want to, but we're over $3 million on the enrolling side in the last 7 years and 29 days, and we are the top income earners in the company. So I would get some numbers on some averages if I were you, having heard that. Get some average. So you guys like, okay, Scott, you're above average. You already said that you were a marketer before. What's the average person? Get some numbers on that. Maybe they can put it up in a PowerPoint right now. Okay. How long have you been in the business? Again, 7 years, 29 days. How much money did you make last year? That is your income and bonuses less your expenses. Okay. The expenses, the way that we pay for our building is through, like I told you, through the $50 per chair building. So the building's actually taking care of itself pretty much these days. Last year, we made in 2017 $855,000 and some change between, ready for this, between the events coming in, so that was less cost. Well, probably $120,000 of that went towards the building, because when somebody does pay the $50, it comes to us. Most of it was overrides. I would say we only made 2 sales last year. So I made we made $10,000 on 2 individuals that we got in personally last year. That came off of people wanting to know what the heck we were doing on Facebook. And then the rest of it was overrides. So quite a bit, right? And that's the breakdown. How much of it was in sales? 2 sales last year for 20 grand. How much money you made in the recruiting distributors? Don't make any money recruiting distributors. So the 125 doesn't get paid. So we don't get paid on that. How much money have you made in downline distributor sales, which is overrides? I'm suggesting, I'm probably is the quite a bit. So if you take $20,000 minus, so $140,000 from 855. What does that look like? 720,000 maybe in overrides. Okay, what percentage of your sales were made to distributors? That's a fantastic question. I have way more students than I do have students IMAs, right? So I have sold way more education to people that just want to do real estate than I have people that go, I want to do real estate and referring, right? Very little folks actually just do the 125. I can tell you this, and this might be good for you to hear. A lot of those folks that do 125, they don't make it, right? They don't make it because they don't have that wealth building thing. I have a lot of people who want to do the real estate and the marketing side, and then they do a fix and flip, and they make a big check on a fix and flip, and I never hear from them on the marketing side. So because the education service is so good, the challenge that we have with distributors is they make so much money on a fix and flip, and they're like, wow, big 5-6 figure check, woohoo, do it again, right? And then they forget all about the distribution side. So we have way more folks like that than we have anybody else, right? How long did it take you before you were earning money? Right away. We were earning money. Wow. First month we were earning money with Renatus. So, but once again, we were putting time into it to make that happen. How big of a downline is needed to make money? You don't need a downline at all to make money. In fact, you could opt out of the downline portion, like I suggested, and just make the 1,000s, 3,000s, 9,000s, or 10,000s, right? You can say, nope, I just want to refer actual individuals and make big dough. So there you go. Is the downline you're compensated on endless? Oh, absolutely not. It is only 3 levels. So if it was any more than that, then the company couldn't sustain itself. If not, how far down does it go? Answer right there. Okay. There you go, guys. So you've heard everything. Once again, if for some reason you're ready to go, based on everything you heard here, all the questions that's answered here, the comp plan, then there should be a button you can hit to get started, or a button to hit so that the person that invited you gets a message to help you get started. So go ahead and do that now. And you know what? Hopefully we'll meet at a national event, or maybe a regional event, or a leadership event. I look forward to helping you out personally. Maybe I'll be traveling to your market someday soon, and you'll be able to shake hands. Or you come to mine. Sound good? All right, guys, have a great day. Get your choice. If you're not going to get started with us, I wish you luck. If you are getting started with us, congratulations. Welcome to the family.